I can hear myself, so I guess we can hear.
I don't know. Oh, okay. Okay.
Taqueria El Alacran at 758 South Buford Avenue in Ocoee.
Hello. Finally.
Don't do that. Don't do
Finally.
that.
Those who know me know that I'm a stickler for time. I hate when, we say we're going to do something and then minutes pass at that time that we say we're going to do
Don't
something.
do that. Don't
But
do that.
I will say this. I did tell him about 6:30 and I was actually behind. So I will take that L for being late.
Yes,
'Cause I did say 6:30 for him.
you
So
did.
go hard on him in the comments, please. But then feel some sort of remorse and tell him you're sorry. So,
They feel however they want to feel. Okay.
however way y'all want to process that. Um, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good, good,
hungry.
good.
Getting ready to eat here pretty soon.
Nice.
And I actually, have another interview at 8 that's supposed to be happening at 8. We'll see
Oh,
if
you're a media mogul.
we'll see if it happens because they reneged on me before, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do this setup because I have no idea.
Wish I had a piece of
Maybe
paper. I would cry in.
maybe I should take my iPad just to not my iPad but my computer. Maybe I'll do that and then just record. So anyway, that's some off the wall back house stuff. Um,
Clearly.
Jamaal Bivens is in the house. You guys should remember him from season 2 where we talked about retail. And what I'm doing this season, I'm going back and revisiting some of the episodes that I've done and just catching up with people. And you can't hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just
Oh,
turning
okay.
up the volume a little.
And yeah, we're just going back and checking on everybody. We had to come to grips with our new normal. This whole pandemic thing wasn't done. And in 2021, we became pros. And it's time to catch up on some of the folks that we talked to. And I know you guys,
Oh,
if y'all are anything like me, like on podcasts, they have somebody on, I'd be like, I wonder what's going on with that person. So I figured I'd do the same here. So welcome, Jamaal.
thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be in the number. Thank you very much.
So I want to ask, why haven't you started your podcast yet?
It's funny because you're not the first person to ask me that. Honestly, I think sometimes I don't find myself that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't think I talk about things that are super important, and a lot of the important things that I feel like we need to discuss, most people aren't entertained by.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also, I haven't really dedicated a set time to actually do it. I, usually, my schedule's all over the place, but now that I have a lot of free time, I
Mm-hmm.
might decide to do a little something.
I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
So let me see here. No, I don't even know.
Oh, now I see me. Did we lose you? Are you still with us?
Okay. Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, now I hear you.
What's funny, and I'm scared because I don't know how this is going to play out. I hear you on my laptop. I'm thinking I'm supposed to hear you in my headphones.
Oh,
So, I mean, and that's the way that it normally is. Um, but I guess this is just for me monitoring myself because I can hear my voice and I want to just know if I'm too loud.
oh,
Um,
got you.
us professional podcasters, we have to make sure
The likes of you. Yes,
since,
yes.
since the voice is the only thing that people have. I mean, they're gonna be able to get the audio or the visual element of it. I figure I gotta have my audio straight because the last couple times I did my podcast, it was loud and
Wow.
yeah. And the thing is I had the same monitor setup that I had on. I don't know what happened, but
Maybe
whatever.
you're in a different room. Maybe
No. This is my studio.
I
So
don't know.
it's definitely it's my studio, but I don't know what I think it was. I was just a little too close, and I also had the volume for the mic loud, so
Oh, got you.
pick up. I don't want it to pick up the ambient noise. But anyway, that's back house stuff. Let's. I asked Jamaal this very specific question, and that question was, why don't you have your own podcast?
And I'm assuming you didn't get my answer, so I'll repeat my
No,
answer.
because I did something to myself and I exited out, and then I was like scared because I'm like, what's going on? And
And you went away, and I was sitting here looking
I,
at myself like,
hey,
okay.
this is live, right there. It's kind of live, but not really. But you need to get it together. You've been doing this for how long? So that was what was going on in my mind. So thank you for that.
It's okay. We love you anyway, so it's okay. We love you in spite of.
I appreciate
that. But to answer your question, I don't think that I speak of. I don't think I talk about things that are interesting to like a large audience, if you will. I think some of the important things that we do talk about that I would be interested in, I probably wouldn't have a great fan base in, especially as opinionated as I can be.
Mhm.
And I haven't really set enough time together to actually do a podcast.
Okay.
Now that I have a lot more free time lately,
We're
maybe I can go ahead and
we're gonna get to why he's saying that here in a second. There's a reason why he's saying that he has so much free time. There's yeah. You guys are gonna have to listen to the whole episode to find out, okay?
Oh, it's a doozy.
One thing I will say in terms of podcasting is it definitely, I mean, obviously it's about having an audience, right? That's a big portion of it. But I will say that it has informed a lot of my growth over the last 2 years. Just with trying to number one, be a voice for my mother, who passed away, and also allowing me to sit in my emotions because I process stuff in real time, especially when I'm doing podcasts. So, I think it's definitely, and I also wanted to ask you this: how many followers do you have on Instagram?
I don't know actually.
Okay,
2,600.
Right. How many followers or people you have friends on Facebook?
Oh God, 40. I think 4237.
So he's talking about he don't have a follower or a fan base. Come on. This is the only that I know that.
I mean, I can have. No, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
The only person that I know that's regular that could have 50,000 comments on a picture of him doing this, and people are trying to figure out what is this. It's crazy. It drives me nuts. But hey, it works.
But see, that's not consistent. That's only something shocking. Like, when I cut my hair, it got like 500 comments. That's the most I've ever had on anything. If I'm just lounging in the background talking about Happy Monday, I might get 4 likes. So it's like, while I might have an audience, I might not have that engagement.
Right. I get that. The engagement part of it is part of what we do, but you also have to be a little bit of a narcissist too. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to, because you have to believe in your own voice, and you have to believe in yourself enough to say, I have value in what it is I'm trying to say. So, absolutely. And I don't see you as being narcissistic at all. Not in that.
I was gonna say, I like in one end, I'm like that with music. Like I'm gonna sing regardless. I don't care what you take from it is what you take from it. But something as public as this, which is kind of weird because music is very public as well. But something like this, where you have to like kind of engage and get people to zone in, it can be kind of tough because I'm not, like you said, and I'm not very narcissistic. I'm not very self-serving or anything like that. So it can be tough. So if I want to get some type of interaction, I have to do something like, bam, like, hello, good morning. Otherwise people will be like, what is Jamaal talking about today?
I understand. Yeah, and obviously you guys know we know each other. We're friends in real life, so I'm hip to it. So it's like if you me now, it's like, okay, yeah, I know that. We've been friends now for about 12 years, I think.
I think so. 12,
Since
13
09.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we've known each other for quite some time.
I think '08. I think,
Yeah, that's true. That's
yeah,
true.
when my father passed away. So
Yeah.
definitely '08. Yeah. Ooh,
So
we're old.
we definitely got some history in our,
We do.
so but yeah, I think you should do it personally because despite what you may think, I definitely think that you have something to say.
As I
um,
usually do.
yeah, you have something to say, and you do have an audience of people that would listen to you. So there's that.
Well, I
Um,
appreciate the encouragement. Thank you.
and if you actually knew, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can't see you anymore. You went out.
Son of a biscuit. Ooh, how am I going to do this?
And yet you were worried about me and my connection issues.
I need to. Okay, start cam.
I'm still here. He's not. Oh,
Um,
how y'all doing out there? How you doing? Y'all doing all right out there? How you doing? He's worried about me.
okay, I'm going to do this. Because I need to charge my MacBook. What is happening? I don't understand. I'm going through it.
Now you see how I'm in my normal light that's up here on my ceiling. I ain't got one of them circle lights. I ain't trying to be all fancy. It took me 20 minutes to try to connect Bluetooth to this iPad.
Oh my god.
And I'm still here consistently. No, I can't speak for other people and I can't say anybody's names, but I'm sure Reginald knows who I'm talking about when I say that apparently.
And I'm gonna let y'all know this is all. I'm not editing any of this shit out. I just want
So,
and now I have a problem with the charging. This is too much. I cannot
I
take
hear
it.
the boom, boom. Whereas I'm, hovering at about 82% too now.
Give me the
I can
scrimp.
do this all day, people. I'll be here all night. All right.
Get a scrimp to be able to. Now y'all gonna hear my mic go out.
Oh. Well, while we wait for him to return, let's sing an old Negro spiritual, why don't we? Just let's not. How y'all doing out there though? Let's drop some of these comments. Talk to us and let us know how you're doing out there. What's going on? I want to see some comments. Talk to me. I mean, I'll probably answer them at a later date because I'm trying to focus on this, and he's struggling. Oh,
I am struggling. I'm so
yeah.
so upset. I'm
How
not.
are you hosting a show and this is happening?
You're right. How are you? Okay, you can hear me on the mic, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I hear you on the mic. I hear you on the one and the two. The one and the two.
To everybody out there who are interested in becoming a podcaster, I have to hear myself. I can't. Sorry. Who is interested in becoming a podcaster? Make sure your stuff is working because time waits for no man. Okay.
And let's talk about how he called me like 3 or 4 times because I hadn't clicked on the link fast enough because I wanted to make sure that my stuff was working appropriately as it is and has not wavered or faltered in these whole little 15 minutes we've been talking so far.
Check the tape. How many times have y'all seen me up in here and I ain't never had issues like this? So don't do me. Please don't do it.
It only takes one.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Quit playing.
Yes, you are.
You're not gonna do me like that on my own show. We do this because normally if I didn't know him, I would just hang up and be like, I don't want to talk no more.
Same here. Okay.
Never hear the light of this interview. We're gonna make it happen. We 15 minutes in. It's good. It's gonna be a good ride. I already know.
It is absolutely.
So yes, we were talking about how long we've known each other.
Yes.
And then my camera went out, so let's skip over that. I like the other camera because it's HD. This one is just the standard camera on the Mac.
Gotcha.
But your
I
boy,
still hear you fine, so it's okay.
okay, good. Your boy's booked and blessed. I had an interview earlier today, which went really well. Your interview, was able to lock it down yesterday, and then the interview that I'm doing tonight at 8, I was able to lock that down when I went and got my haircut because this is my barber. So,
Oh, nice.
This show has turned into, you know, more than just Reggie's assortment of thoughts. It's really being able to spotlight people, especially Black folks and, brown people too. Because I'm all, we have a different experience, and I just want to make sure that I take the time that I take to be able to cultivate that space. So I take this.
And if I may, I want to I was going to say condemn. We don't want to condemn you.
Condemn you, Reggie.
I want to commend.
Horrible.
What'd you say? Say that again.
That you want to condemn me because what happened when my computer was horrible.
Computer. Dang this damn computer. No, I want to commend you seriously because I've seen, the groundwork you've put in to make this show what it is. I've seen, your very, 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 very humble beginnings.
Yeah. You were part of that humble beginning, because season 2 what was going on.
But you know what? I think that's what makes things like these entertaining is that we get to see people exactly how they are. You're not sitting in some grandiose studio that you probably isn't probably even yours, that you probably rented out just for the experience. You're actually in your house, doing your thing how you see fit. And that must be commended, honestly. I mean, kudos to you. And I'm not even kidding. Like, not even just saying.
Appreciate that. I'll give him his $10. But we gonna get down to the real nitty gritty here.
Yes, what's up? What's up?
So you're in Jacksonville. You went to JU, correct?
I did.
And then you worked in an assortment of retail spaces.
I sure did.
And your most recent place was Kohl's.
Okay, I was like, did you forget?
No, I didn't. I was really trying to see if it was okay for me to say that.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine.
Okay. As of recent, and like I said, I'm gonna make you guys listen to the whole episode. He no longer works for Kohl's.
That's correct.
But we're gonna depending on how this goes, we'll try to see if we can get a little detail behind what happened with that whole situation, if he's feeling up to. So
this is gonna be like an exclusive.
So that means you're gonna have to promote this with your 4,900 followers, plus your 2,600 followers. So if we add that over 7,500 or something like that, math is not a strong suit. So, I can barely talk, as y'all can see, and keep a podcast going. So but when I met Jamaal, I was also in the retail space too. I actually didn't get out until like maybe 4 years ago now. And, I have to say that I do not look back. Retail takes a special kind of person. It takes a special kind of self-starting ability to be able to do
absolutely.
it day out. And especially if you're management and you are a person of color, your experience is going to be vastly different than anybody else, because they always going to bring your Blackness into the room no matter what. Even if you go in there and you're the most non-white or non-black person there is, they're going to be about race. That's just, y'all wonder why we talk about it. Those racists out there, while we talk about it. If you don't talk about it, it don't exist. It's because it's in the room before we even come there. So, why not address the elephant in the room?
It's funny you said that exactly. That's why I always have a problem with people who say they don't see color, because that's probably one of the biggest lies people tell themselves. I think, as a people, if you will, what we should do better is saying, yes, I can see that you're Black, but I'm not going to treat you differently because of it.
Right.
That's a little bit more honest than I don't see color. Girl, you white as snow. I see it.
Exactly.
Yes. And I'm not going to treat you differently because of it. Simple as that. I don't know why that's such a hard concept to grasp.
And the conversation is really about being anti-racist. You know what I'm saying? It's not about not doing racist things, is actively making the decision to be anti-racist. And what that means is stopping yourself, like what you just said, with having that thought, oh, well, he's black, and going with your first mind and saying, well, I'm going to treat him differently. But having that moment, taking that beat to say, you know what, he's black. I don't know him. I've never seen him before. Let me treat him as if he's somebody that I'm trying to get to know. So,
and not making people the voice of said race. Just because I do a certain thing, that doesn't mean all black people do that. That doesn't mean, or because what your view of what black people have done in the news, or maybe even your own personal life, I shouldn't be treated differently because of that. I'm not those people. Judge my character on my actions and who I am as a person, not based on some things you've seen on TV or experienced in your life with other black people that I don't even know.
Exactly. And every black person has an experience where they have been othered. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It happens often. You know what I'm saying?
On the daily.
Because it's, and I think I know it's because of the fact that, some of the spaces that we move into, especially when it comes to management and, maybe in the singing space for you, there's not a lot of people that look like us.
Right.
So we're other in that aspect. And then we're other because of what they associate, to be race. Vastly interesting.
Automatically.
Yeah. And I was ready to call you yesterday. I knew you were you didn't feel any type of way after you found out about it. But I wanted to give you, instead of just giving the exclusive, I wanted to make sure that you had time to process what happened. So that's why I wasn't but I was ready to have a conversation. Like, how they treat us in corporate America. It's not made for us black people. It ain't made for us. But now
we're not allowed. We're not allowed.
I was like, okay, Reggie, you need to go eat. So that may be your hunger talking. You don't need to have that conversation. You know how angry I get sometimes. Being angry, But
yes.
The first question I want to ask you: can you believe it is 22 minutes and I ain't asked you a question? Oh no, it's my second question. 22 minutes in. How are you?
That's a loaded question. You know what? To be completely honest and to be completely transparent with everything that has transpired, I'm at peace. Okay. I'm honestly at peace. You mentioned earlier that you wanted to make sure I had time to process it, and it's funny because, and we'll even touch upon the situation itself. I got a phone call on Tuesday from whoever sitting on their couch at home while their baby's screaming in the background as an HR representative. Yeah, baby screaming in the background. I was like, oh, wow. Somebody's at home and not, toiling away in the building. All right, you. But good job for you working at home, probably making twice as much as I do. But anyway, I digress. I got a call, and there were some things that were said in that call that just I didn't agree with, and I felt like that my character was being maligned. And one thing I don't do, we will not be maligning my character whatsoever. I have grown tremendously in my life. I have been, there's so many things that I've done that make me a very well-rounded person and make me a very cultured person. And I say that as modestly as I can, to that where something that may have occurred, I'm not going to let you minimize that. So I let that be known, in the phone call. And at that moment, I was very upset because, these things that were mentioned just were honestly just misperceptions based upon, someone's opinion of the events. And we'll go into it. I don't mind. We can go into it a little bit after I say all this. But I think in that moment, I was absolutely upset, very upset, because, the weight of the issues that were, given to me, it's kind of like the writing on the wall. Like I kind of knew, hey, they're coming for you. Get your ducks in a row because you're finna be up out of here soon. And it lingered Wednesday, Thursday, and then yesterday on my day off. Go figure, on your day off, like Friday. How'd you get fired on your day off? So honestly, I think after Tuesday when I had the phone call, I'm not a very emotional person. I don't do really, really well with pessimism or negativity. I don't, because I'm always, fun and goofy and silly. It was in that moment where I really just broke down, and I did, because, and it wasn't even about what was said in the phone call and things like that. It was just a maligning of my character, and that I don't stand for whatsoever. So once I got past that moment,
Okay.
I was fine. I
Mhm.
know it sounds crazy, especially because of what's happened since. But once I let all that out,
Mhm.
listen, whatever you choose that you want to do based on what this phone call or whatever was, that's
Mhm.
on you, baby. I'm
Right.
still going to be here, and I'm still going to hold my integrity and my values and everything I hold dear here, and I'm going to be okay. And I've been okay ever since, to be completely honest.
Okay. So you obviously had time. This wasn't like a pull the veil over your eyes kind of thing, and
No, no,
yeah.
thankfully. I think
Well,
if it were that,
then it would have been a different.
Chicago Jamaal would have come out, and we would have been flipping some zeros and flipping some fixtures, and it would have been a whole scene, a whole dramatic exit. But I
I,
left, holding my head held high with
I'm
integrity intact.
thinking Angela Bassett in how waiting to exhale, seeing
Hmm.
car. Is that kind of what we?
Burning shit up.
Mm. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen because then
No,
I would be bailing you out.
exactly. I've never been arrested, and I want to keep it
Yeah,
that way.
so we don't want to do that. I'm glad that you
We
chose
don't.
otherwise, sir. So that is I now I understand, why you said what you said yesterday. Because when I asked you, you were like, "No, I'm okay with," because you had time to process. So um,
Absolutely.
that makes perfect sense because one thing we have to understand, especially when you're fired or you're in a situation and you're at a job that you like, um, it's almost like a death to you,
Hmm.
and you have to allow yourself to grieve. I mean, any type of detachment, whether it be marriage or job wise or relationships that you've had with your friends or whatever, there's a mourning process added to it.
Absolutely.
So, I'm pretty sure as time goes on, you'll probably be upset about it, angry about it, mad about it, or, indifferent, you know what I'm saying, however way. And I just want to, go on record by saying, please allow yourself to feel those feelings. And once you feel them, let it go.
Absolutely.
Don't let it be the armor that you use to protect you, because the pain is supposed to be temporary. A lot of times what we do as Black folks is, and that's because of how we were, brought into this country, is we wear that as a badge of honor, right?
Hmm.
And then we continue on in life and we like, oh, we're thinking that we're being, smart by keeping this here. But what we're doing is we're keeping that there and not allowing other folks to be able to touch, in that way. You're protecting yourself,
Hmm.
from that. So that's what I mean by, let it prosper however way it needs to prosper. So you'll be done with it when it's done. So,
Absolutely.
and y'all know your boy done been fired how many times? Okay. I mean, you can't count Verizon fired because they got, well, I guess you can. I mean, they got rid of the position. And then I
So
interviewed.
it's more of a laying off, not a firing,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they paid me for that.
technically.
Um, but I
Coles ain't paid me nothing.
I mean, I grieved all the same though. But when my
Yeah,
other two jobs that I got let go, I was completely shocked. I had no idea that it happened. One was on some fuck shit, but the other one was also on some fuck shit too. But I was young
it
and
usually is.
yeah, I
When
was
you
young.
look like this, it usually is. It usually is.
True,
And it's
because
funny. You know what? It's funny you say that. If I may, I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
You said what did you just say? You just
The
said
bad.
it was some fuck shit.
Oh
But
yeah.
but you know what? I think because in my situation, I kind of expected it once I kind of wanted to accelerate my position. I
Mhm,
kind of expected it wasn't going to happen. So I was just like, eh. So I kind of prepared for it already. I already
mhm,
did kind of, there were a few people that I told I had an exit strategy anyway because I knew I
mhm,
wasn't going to be, elevated. So I think that probably helped me to, um,
mhm.
grasp it a little bit easier because it was
Okay.
kind of happening. I kind of saw the writing on the wall slowly but surely. I was like,
Right.
okay.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. And you know, what I was gonna say about the, professionalism, or just when it comes to Black folks, I want to let everybody know that HR is not your friend. You might be cool with the HR person, and if you're in management, you're going to be partnering with them often, and those things are going to happen because that's what you do as a manager. But they are
Mm-hmm.
not your friend, and I've realized I've been in situations, as of not as of recent, because the company I'm with now is completely leaps and bounds ahead. Like I'm grateful for this job every day. But
Awesome.
I had a circumstance that happened when I was with VZW Verizon, where I needed HR, and the answer that I got was a very cold answer, and it was like, oh, I expected some level of compassion, from
Mm-hmm.
the person, because we had interacted in other ways. They obviously come to the store, they talk to you and all this other stuff. So you expect there to be some sense of compassion, but that person was completely void of any emotion, and was like, hey, this. And it just made me realize, like, oh, okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Made me move a little bit differently as a result. So HR is not your friend. Don't go in there thinking that they are. They like to
They're
get all
not.
buddy and chum. That's a part of their job. They're like investigators, especially when they're looking for stuff. They want to, disarm you by asking how you are. And I ain't saying going on Monday and be like, HR's, whatever, but they're there to protect the asset of the business, because they see
Exactly.
liability. So for anybody who is curious about that, please know that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I've worked in HR myself, so I know that to be true. That at the end of the day, you have to, as an HR representative, you really have to stick to the words of the policies and the company's integrity, and
mhm,
everything else just does not matter. It doesn't, like, no one cares about personal feelings, nobody cares about intent, nobody cares about loyalty to the company and anything. And I can even say that from my own personal experience. Like, nobody cares about that stuff. It's all about, did you do this?
mhm.
And it says you shouldn't have done this. Point blank, period.
You
So
know,
yeah,
the funny thing is even though they don't deal with feelings, a lot of the stuff that comes from HR is feeling based stuff. I felt
yes,
that this
absolutely,
because I felt this made me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to HR. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
we know in America, in this world, that there is an exception to every rule.
Hmm.
The
And
department,
there's different people that benefit from it more than we do.
there you go. In the department that I'm in, I see that every single day. There's rules and regulations, and then you have this person,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, well, they don't fit that rule. So as a result, we're gonna, adjust accordingly, and maybe
Hmm.
make a rule as we go. So I don't understand. Like HR to me needs to kind of like a police, presence. It needs a complete shift, and
Yeah.
in terms of how it is bartered to the employees about what their interest is. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wholeheartedly agree.
Um,
Absolutely agree. I hate that, HR stands for human resources,
and
but
there's no
so many times
quality about
people of those, none, no humanity whatsoever. It's literally letters and policies. And you're like, what about how I felt?
it.
Like,
Right.
nobody cared
Exactly.
about that.
You
So
know.
because this person complained about something I did, regardless of the reason I did it, it's because of how they feel that this
Mm-hmm.
has to happen. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm going to get to the big question here,
Go
um,
for it.
because your people have been waiting on bated breath by now, right? And I want to draw this out as long as possible. So I'm going to say many, many more words. Pineapple, angel,
I
before I
can't.
get to the question. Water, and
Sappho.
cold, light. But
Flag.
here's the question that I want to ask you. Um, so, do you mind talking about what happened? Or
I
better yet,
don't.
before you answer that question, do you mind taking us through how you felt when they called you on Tuesday with, what they were, the writing on the walls, if you will?
Hmm.
I-
I'll actually do a little bit of both.
Okay.
That way, so you can understand my mental. So it happened Tuesday morning, or Tuesday afternoon actually. After I finished my shift, I literally got there like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and was leaving about. I was supposed to be off at 2, and I think my store manager called me into her office at like 1:30. And this HR representative, like I said, somebody sitting at home. I heard kids in the background. I didn't understand what was going on at first. I was
Mhm.
like, what? Why do I hear kids? Are we babysitting? Like, what are
Mhm.
we doing? And she said, I'm, with HR, whatever she said her title was. And I was like, HR, okay, whatever. So then, long story short, she brought up these allegations of stuff that I did, and how I harassed an associate or a couple of associates and humiliated a couple of associates, and what else? What else? Violated the social media policy.
Mhm.
Here's where we go. Let's keep it all the way live in 100.
Mhm.
So as far as harassing an associate, I so it was a coworker of mine. I've known this coworker my entire Cole's career. I have hung out with this coworker outside of work. We're friends on social media. I know their families. We
Right.
clearly have a relationship outside of the store. Um, for whatever reason, I think it was something about, you know, um, whatever the reason was.
Sure.
I think I said, "Are those bugle boys you're wearing?" or something to that effect.
Okay.
And we joke like that. He says,
Right.
"Why, yes, they are." And he kind of like tooted his boom boom out, his ass. He
Right.
tooted it, he tooted out. I hit it, and I said something to the effect of, ow, something, 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 or whatever. And, there were a couple people there, probably was confused as to what's going on, but we literally sat there and we were both laughing about it. He was laughing, I was laughing.
Mhm.
Um, and, we moved on. And he specifically said we had that type of relationship like we do. I've known him all of my entire close career. Um, that happened twice, maybe a couple weeks apart. Um, and,
Mhm.
and, me, that's my friend. That's my buddy. You know, I,
Mhm.
I didn't think anything of it at all.
I mean, I
Then
worse happen than that. So
what's
in
that?
real, I said I've seen worse things happen than that in some of the
Way
Facebook.
worse. Way
Yeah.
worse. Way
Mhm.
worse. Even in that particular workplace. Like, come on. So then there was an incident of me poking one of my coworkers' stomachs. And she asked, this HR representative asked me about that. I mentioned that I did that to one of my another friend that I have. And I say friend, you know me long enough to know that I don't use the word friend loosely. I don't have friends at work. So if I say friend, these are people that I know outside of work. So
Mhm.
I hadn't seen this particular friend in a while. I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" You used, and I poked his stomach just like that. I said, "You used to be my fitness muse. Looks like you're slacking off. What's going on? How are you going to hold me accountable if you're not holding yourself accountable?" He laughed, said something about COVID. Da 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 da. Da. We moved on. It was joking. So then I mentioned that, and she said, "Well, that's not even the associate I was talking about." I said, "Okay, and you're talking about a different associate that I happened." Mind you, this is at two other stores, not even at my actual store,
Oh
but two.
wow! So they went
Yeah.
way back to the way back.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't way back. This really just happened within the past maybe week or two, or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Actually, week. It hasn't even been that long. It's literally
Okay.
since one of the incidents was Sunday, and then the other one was probably maybe actually last week, so maybe last
Okay.
Thursday or
Okay.
something when I went to the other store. But both times it's with people that I've built relationships with, and you know the situation in and of itself was never, you know,
Anything.
at no point would I have thought, oh my God, I'm offending this person. This person feels horrible because we talked about it right then and there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's one aspect. Then the humiliation and the social media, those are wrapped into one. So on my Instagram story, I posted a video of one of my coworkers. He was eating some pizza, and he was talking about how he puts ketchup on his pizza, and I called him nasty. I was like, "That's nasty. Ew, that's nasty." Y'all see him? He's nasty. You know. And then there was another coworker in the break room. I was in the break room. There was
Mhm.
another coworker, and I said, and speaking of nasty, look at her. She's nasty. Mind you, in doing this, okay, I'm in the break room. I'm on my break in the break room, but I guess Coles was identifiable.
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure the second person did not we have that type of relationship. The first person may have said something to someone, or maybe someone else witnessed it and then they said something.
Mhm.
So that said, um, at no point did I feel like, oh my God, I'm humiliating someone. Like we were laughing. We were literally sitting there laughing. It's not in my story anymore, but it's definitely in my archive. I could play it. You will see every single one of us involved
Mhm.
laughing,
Mhm.
laughing. Then another story. I mentioned discipline problems when I was talking about a customer that called in and wanted us to bring something to her car, but she wasn't even parked in one of the designated spots. I mentioned that. And then there was another coworker that I said was in my business because I think I said good morning. She's like, good morning, it's 5 o'clock. I said, you in my business? Don't do that. We laughed.
Mhm.
We laughed.
Mhm.
So then those were the issues she was bringing to the table. And I was sitting here looking at her like, is this really happening? Like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
What?
Mhm.
And then she even brought up like a Twitter post that I posted in 2018, September of 2018, where I got a counseling then about the social media policy, mind you, 3.5 years ago, where I think I said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the tweet
Remember.
pulled up.
Yes.
But no, I remember exactly what I said, just not maybe word for word. But it was a customer. I was at another store location. The customer said something about, I'm not going to shop at Kohl's anymore because y'all carry Nike products. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm as I'm talking to the customer, well, why do you feel that way? Nike doesn't want you to stand up for the flag. Nike this, Nike that. And I said, well, where else won't you be shopping? Because a lot of places sell Nike. I
Mhm.
said that. The customer was like, well, I guess I need to limit where I'm shopping because this is unacceptable. Let me get out of this store. I said, have a great day. In the tweet, I referenced what happened. That was a violation of social media policy. So now, just to take it back to the actual day, when I'm sitting here listening to these things, I got really upset, really irate. Not because of the actions themselves. You can ask anybody that was involved in any of the phone calls. I completely admitted to everything that happened. I did not lie. I did not embellish. I did not make up. I said, this is what happened. This is why it happened. I think I was upset because, like I mentioned before, it felt like my character was being maligned and I
Right.
was being, kind of positioned as some kind of prey upon, you
Mhm.
know, subordinates or something like
Witch
that.
hunt.
And
A witch hunt.
it really became that. And I was very upset at that because, like I mentioned, the first person who, I hit on his butt, I did it. I absolutely did it. I sure did. I didn't do it because, oh my God, your ass looks amazing. I didn't do it because let me squeeze it and feel it. None of that happened. It was literally poked out, pow, da 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 da, whatever.
Mhm.
But they tried to make it seem as if, he went along with it because of my title and my position in the building. In all honesty, that particular person, isn't a direct, I don't report to him whatsoever, but he's on the same level of my boss's boss's, my boss's 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 boss.
Mhm.
So I don't understand how my level had anything to do with how he felt.
Right.
But again, overall, in my 11-year career with that company, I've never once tried to assert myself as anything other than Jamal. I've never once said, you have to do this because I'm your manager. You have to do this because you're a cashier or you're this. I've never been that. And anybody who's ever worked with me will absolutely agree with that because I'm a team player. I've always been the type of person to say, "Hey, can you help me do such and such and such and such?" I've never in my entire, not even just Kohl's, but in my entire retail career, have ever asked anybody to do anything I A couldn't do by myself or B wouldn't do with them. Never, never, ever, ever, ever.
Mhm.
So for anyone to try to say otherwise really upset me because I know who I am as an associate. I know who I am as a person. And I just really hated that they were painting this picture that it was anything other than what it was. So I was upset, and I definitely was not very nice with HR. And at that point, I didn't care because I kind of felt like we
Yeah, it was
mentioned earlier, HR isn't your
at that
friend.
point.
It was pointless.
This
You
was
had already.
they just wanted to get
Mhm.
the it on the books so they can say they had a conversation with you. Yep.
Exactly. Especially when they referenced something from 3.5 years ago. I was
Mhm.
like, are we really doing this when the probationary period from that particular incident was 90 days? So that expired in December of 2018. But we're going to bring that back up to add weight to some of these.
Other things.
That's what we're doing. Okay. I see
So
where you're going.
so do you think someone told on you?
Oh,
Or
absolutely. 100% yes. And I can't wait to actually post this to my feed so this person can actually see that I know that that's what happened. Um, and I want them to think about it. And I want them to revel in the fact that they did that. And
mm,
and to be completely honest, I don't hold any ill will against that person. If I saw that person right now, I would definitely tell that person how I felt, and
right.
then that person can apologize or feel however they feel like feeling. But I would definitely let that person know how I feel. And I still might reach out to that person and say, how it looks to me, since we're talking about feelings and how you felt, how it looks to me is that you did all of these things to get me out of the way or to superimpose yourself and make yourself look good, which is well and good for retail if that's what you feel like you need to if that's what you feel like you need to do to advance in
A
the
lot of
company.
people feel
I'm
like
not
they need
that type of
to do
person.
that. A lot of people feel like they need to step on where you came from.
Hmm.
Um, because you may represent something that they don't like, and they, end up having an internal vendetta against you, and they use this as an
Yeah.
opportunity to be able to. So I completely understand. We gonna probably have to end up doing a part two, uh, because that was, and I just want to say that the thing that pisses me off about that situation is, I'm pretty sure there was some other themes that were there that they didn't talk about, and I'm sure race had something to do with it. I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
homosexuality, the the implication of homosexuality with smacking the ass kind of thing,
Hmm.
and America, and a lot of people like to use those as catalysts to hate others. Um,
Absolutely.
and I feel like, in their decision, ultimately, I know the company felt like you were a liability, but realistically, that wasn't the case. It's so far from because they sound like small
So
incidents,
far.
that, and, one thing about HR and people in general is if you poke holes, you're going to find it. If you
Hmm.
ask people, you're gonna find something. And on any given day, anybody can be looked under a microscope and looked at as someone who's, breaking the status quo or whatever. So,
Absolutely.
my heart goes out to you for that situation. And I do want to share one of my own. A few years back, I was working at this company. I'm not going to name them because
Please do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
I'm not, but they know who they are. Long story short, I was working at this company, and it was a real weird setup. I got hired in as an assistant manager, and the setup. The reason why I say it was weird is I had three locations: one in Orlando, one in Leesburg, and then one in Summerfield. Leesburg
Oh, I know where we're talking about.
and Summerfield are not close at all.
Mm-mm, they're
So,
not.
but anyway, that's what we had to do. So one particular day, I was actually at this one location in Summerfield, and I was on the phone with my nephew who lived with me at the time, and I was setting some expectations for him. And long story short, I said in the conversation, I said, "Nigga, the N word," um, and just casually because I'm having a conversation with him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't whether I was on the clock or not. It was a personal phone call. So
Mm-hmm.
the person who was not white heard it, and they felt offended by that word. Not because it was solely because they could not say it. And they said that. If I said it, it would be something different. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, okay. Well, I'm sorry that you heard that. I apologize. And he was like, my customer heard that. And I'm like, first of all, I'm over here. You're on the phone over here. Okay. Well, I apologize. Okay. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it at this point. Move on. 3 months later, the day after Thanksgiving, no, not the day after Thanksgiving, but there was a little bit of a break. And then I think it was like Cyber Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So I come into work
Mm-hmm.
as I normally do. They call me in the office and they said, we wanted to let you know that, we're terminating your employment. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
Right.
That situation was 3 months before. At this point, my manager did ask me questions about it. And I was like, yeah, I said it. Mhm. And I remember feeling after that conversation, I felt like I was exposed. I also felt like he didn't have my back either. And I also felt, I mean, three things that I felt. I felt like I couldn't trust anybody. The interesting thing about that company is before I first started, and this is when I learned my lesson. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything on my social media again. Before I started there, I got the job and they were searching for people, because they found out that my name was Reginald too. That was their old manager, the one that had got fired. So they were looking, it was like, oh, I know they didn't hire him again. So they found my social media page, which at the time I didn't know anything about being private or anything. I mean, I should, but I didn't. They went and they searched on it, and I said something along the lines like, it's interesting, y'all. It's gonna be an interesting ride. Pray for me. They called me into the office, and I've worked with HR before, and I was denial is the best. I was like, what? I don't know. What are you talking?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That don't. No, I mean, I know myself. That don't sound like something I would do. So they couldn't do nothing about it because I wouldn't go. And then I went and I made my page private after that because they're going based on the words that the employee said. They don't know for sure. And what they were looking for is for me to be like, oh yeah, I said that. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't even know what could I have said, knowing I knew what exactly. I knew the post that I said it. I remember
Right.
my car. So I'm like, no, that don't say, So when this situation came up, I was like, okay, I got it. They finally got me. And how the story came out is the HR person, Dora was her name. I want you to know because you're a shady little something. But Dora came up
Dora the Explorer.
and was visiting the store. And this young lady who was vying for my position was like, oh, so and so, because she wasn't involved in the situation. She heard the story from that person. Oh, tell them about what happened with Reggie. Tell them what happened. And I'm pretty sure because it was all no black people there at that location. I know they said the word. I'm pretty sure they said the word. And she goes, oh, she obviously needs to investigate because she's an HR person. And it's like, how did this even become a part of this whole situation of whether I can do the job or whatever the case may be? Yeah, so they let me go. They let me go. But I will tell you this, I worked harder than I ever did to make sure that I kept this house over my roof and there would not be any disturbance in our lives. Me and Carlos went on a cruise that year. And I had, another job with the company Sprint. Y'all heard how I talked about them. For 9 months, I had to grin and bear it. I had to take that $10.30 an hour, to just make it. And now I'm in a position where I'm able to, have a little bit of disposable income and control my own life. And I'm not bound by the hands of what the rat race of retail does to us sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long time I was conflicted about that. And then after a while I was like, that was some fuck shit. Because you mad because you can't say the word. And y'all can say however way y'all want to look at it. Y'all can tell me that I'm wrong or whatever the case may be. I mean, that I no longer work at that store. I no longer work there, so there's nothing they can say or do, that's gonna put me in jeopardy. but that was just my perception of it. And I know it had everything to do. And that was before the whole Black Lives Matter like situation got as the feverish pitch it gotten in the in 2020, where they started really taking a listen to our stories and understanding the road that we navigate, and that we are up against every aspect of this world in any way possible. And when I worked at the other company, cell phone company that I work with, I remember when I was in management, they told me how emotional I was. Too emotional, too emotional, too emotional, too emotional, to the point where I got in my head, like, you can't be emotional to be able to do this job. But you want me to be able to give people passes and nuance based on emotion. Like, don't write them up because you're too emotional. Like, you can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to accept the gray, we need to accept the gray in all aspects. Because you may be somebody who happens to be late, but this particular day, you were late because your mama died and you wanted to show up to work. So that should be taken in consideration. Not fired because you didn't had 10 other times you've been late. You know what I'm saying? Or you had a moment where a customer pushed you to your limits and you didn't know how you was going to react. So you said something that wasn't nice, which happens because, like Tupac said, ain't no killer, don't push me. And that day I was pushed. But every other day before that, the 365 days that I've worked there, or how many years I worked there, I've had nothing but good things from customers. So it's just mind-boggling to me that this is the experience. So just people in general. And people want to know why folks didn't go back to work in droves after the pandemic. Why would I go back to that? And then on top of that, you ain't paying me nothing.
Ooh, because I could show you my pay stub.
You know what I'm saying? So no. Yeah, I'm gonna this stimulus check. Yes, I'm gonna take this money. Yes, I'm gonna flip that, get a degree, and go do something else. No, I'm not going back to McDonald's. Are you kidding me? I've done enough. Thank you so much for the experience. I gotta go.
Thank you. Next.
You know. So, with that being said, I want to tell you guys that we have come to the end of this topic tonight.
Oh,
we are going to do a part 2. We are going.
I'm down. I'm down
because we need to have this conversation. This conversation went there, and I just want to tell you thank you so much, Jamaal, for coming out. You did not disappoint. I love you, my brother. I'm here for you. Anything that you need,
love you too.
Please let me know, and I'm here for you. You need a
I appreciate
that. What do they call those? Referral references.
I need a stimulus check from
stimulus check
for Reggie's Expressions.
Reparations. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You guys know where to find me. Like every time
put my Cash App under here. Put my Cash App. Get a GoFundMe going.
You know what? I'm gonna do that in the edit afterwards. All right, I'm gonna do that in the edit. So I got you for real. You think I'm playing? I'm dead ass. So I'm gonna do that for you because they're gonna be in for a treat with this conversation. But you guys know I do this for Yvonne Price Garner. She was the one that gave birth to me, and my mom didn't have a voice. And every day I do whatever I can to honor her. And this is an example.
Amen.
Because she didn't get an opportunity to speak her truth. So I get an opportunity to do that. And I do not take it lightly. So thank you guys for the opportunity that you have given me to be able to do this. And you guys can find me at Reggie's Expressions, REGGEE 'S Expressions on Facebook. I'm trying to be bending light right now. Facebook and YouTube.
REGGEE.
And you can also find me at Reggie's_Expressions on Instagram. So with that being said, you guys have a good rest of your night. Part 2 coming soon. Thank you so much, Jamaal. Hang back.
Of course.
All right. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.